Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Emily if this is your first time seeing one of my videos. So my face might be a bit new to you just because I haven't really made videos in such a long time. I used to do a lot of videos back in high school and my first couple of years of college, but I kind of fell out of doing it and I want to get back into it because I actually really enjoyed doing it and I thought it was really fun. I thought I would do a video on this really exciting collab that just came out and I just got it in the mail. It's super exciting because I've been watching this YouTuber for a really long time and I always loved her videos. So I was super excited when RawBeautyKristi came out with a palette with Pur Cosmetics. I really like Pur Cosmetics. I have one of their palettes already and it's really nice. This is a super exciting collab because I thought it was such an innovative idea. Props to you, Kristi, for coming up with this. This is such a genius idea. If you don't know, the Pur x RawBeautyKristi palette is a double-sided pressed pigment palette. So this means that it has two different sides to it. The way that this was designed is such a genius idea. It's all cardboard packaging, so it's super lightweight, so it doesn't feel like you have this like gigantic palette, and it's super travel friendly as well. I mean, not that anybody is traveling right now, but when you do travel, this would be such a perfect palette to go traveling with because it has a neutral side on one side and then a colorful side on the other side. And also I love that this palette has such big mirrors on it and that both sides have the same mirror, which is really awesome. I love that this palette is also mostly matte shades because I find myself pretty much using only matte shades and then a shimmer on the lid or a shimmer on the inner corner. I really don't like when companies come out with palettes that are loaded up with different shimmer shades because I really don't get a lot of use out of them, especially with super colorful shades. I love that they are matte because it makes them way more versatile. I've always been searching for the perfect travel palette. Kristi just came up with one that it just blew my mind because this is exactly what I would want in a travel palette because most of the time, like most of us do, we all go for those kind of neutral shades, the brown shades, you know, maybe some warm tones. There's a couple of cool tones in there, which is really nice as well, so you can change it up a little bit. But most of the time we go for those warm neutrals, right? But adding the other side with the colors is just such a genius idea because I always find myself in those moments where I just want to have fun with makeup, where I just want to experiment with different colors and different bright shades. And so this dual-sided palette is just so genius. I am so proud of Kristi for collaborating. This is her first collab, which is super exciting, and to come right out of the gate with such an awesome product is crazy to me. And also, she broke the internet with this palette. Pur's website was completely shut down. Man, to come out of the gate and have such a, one, great product, but two, a product that completely like overwhelms the website that it's on, that's crazy. I loved the marketing photos and the concept that they went with for this palette, and it was all about duality. So, you know, how you have different sides of yourself. I mean, you can see how I'm like that as well with my two different sides of my hair. Also, I'm like that with makeup. As I explained earlier, sometimes I feel like, you know, most of the time I just like going for neutrals because it's easy. You know, my everyday looks are always just like warm browns, right? There's always those times where I feel like experimenting with color, and because I'm such an avid makeup lover, I love trying new colors, new shades, new textures. I thought it would be a really cool idea to do two different eye looks. So on one side, I'm going to do a more neutral look, And then on the other side, I'm going to go for a more colorful look. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts of the launch and the palette. So let's jump right in and try out these shadows. Okay, so I zoomed you guys in so you can kind of see a little bit better of what I'm doing. Let's get the hair out of my face. And first off, I'm gonna prime my eyes. Lately, I've been really liking the e.l.f. Putty Primer. I feel like it's a dupe for those MAC, what are they called? The MAC paint pots? Is that what they're called? But I never use those, so I wouldn't be too sure about that. But they are kind of like a drier texture eye primer. But I find it really helps with the longevity. It's a bit darker than my skin tone, but I find it works really well. Okay, so my eyes are primed and ready. And I think I'm going to start off with the neutral side of the palette because I'm still not quite sure what I'm going to do with the colorful side yet. I think I might go for the warm tones in it. Even though I'm going to be doing it on the side with my blue hair, I think that would be a nice contrast. And because I really want to use this yellow shade, I love these mustardy yellow shades. So I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush. This is the Moda Pro crease brush, BMX 430. Okay, I think I'm going to start with Camelot. Camelot is the kind of mustardy yellow shade on the neutral side. Ooh, that packs a punch. And I think I'm gonna start off on the outer part of my crease and just kind of blend that out so it's a bit softer. These shadows are quite soft because they are pressed pigments. They're not like traditional eyeshadows. So you do have to be very like light-handed with them and tap them off. But overall, they seem to be blending really nicely, at least this shade is. I really like that. I like how this is a more kind of muted mustardy shade. I love these tones. Super nice. I'm just kind of building up that color and blending it out in my crease. Kind of create a very diffused look. There's a whole lot of cars and trucks that drive on our street, and it's really rude because our windows do not block out sound very well. And I swear every single garbage truck in this city takes our street. Why? I don't know, but every day they do their garbage runs, they take our street, even if they're not picking up the garbage on the street. And it's really rude, quite frankly. So I think I'm gonna start off with copper boxes because that looks like such a nice warm brown color. And I'm gonna focus that on the outer corner and the outer part of my crease. Yep, that is such a nice shade. Oh, and by the way, this is a BH Cosmetics brush, number 6. No, number 9. I was reading it the wrong way. And it's kind of like a nice angled, fluffy brush. It's really good for the outer corner. So now, I think I'm gonna go with B. So I'm kind of using just like this outer row right here. Let's use this pencil brush right here. It's another BH Cosmetics brush, number 10 from the Rose Gold set. I'm gonna take that darker warm brown and just focus that on the outer corner. Not really gonna take it up into my crease, but just helping to deepen that outer corner a bit. I'm just kind of patting that on with this pencil brush. And then I'm going to take that angled blending brush that I use go back in with Copper Boxes and just go over that to blend it a bit more. And I'm just gonna go back in with B and the pencil brush. Keep layering that so add some depth. And I'm just going back and forth with that. I think now I kind of want to bring more of that yellowness back into it. So I'm going to go back in with Camelot and my big fluffy brush. And just go over the edges with that. Just to bring in more of those mustard tones. And then I think I'm going to keep this side all matte. Maybe a bit on the inner corner of shimmer, but I think most of the lid I'm going to keep matte. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my whole heart, which is this very light, kind of like my skin tone shade, but a little bit more kind of peachy. So I'm just going to pack that on this brush. This is the BH8 brush from the rose gold set, and I'm just gonna pack that on the lid just to kind of clean up a bit the crease shades and make the lid pop without adding shimmer. Kind of packing that on and patting and kind of swiping a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in with the outer corner shades, bit of Copper Boxes, and just kind of pat and blend. And then without adding extra product, I'm just kind of blending those two shades together. And that's the top part of the neutral side. So I think since this side of my hair is green, I'm gonna go in with the green and blue shades. And I think because Cafe Disco is such a unique shade, I really want to use that. So let's start with Garden State, because that one is such a pretty green. It's such a unique green too. It's like a very tealy green. When I was looking at it on camera and in the pictures, it looked a lot more blue, so I was a little bit concerned that it wouldn't really look like a green, but in person it looks a lot more green. And then you could also, because there's this matte white, you could lighten the green with the matte white and it would probably show up more green and less blue. So I'm gonna go in with this blending brush. It's a little bit smaller, but it's still kind of fluffy. It's the BH number 6. And I think I'm gonna apply that starting on the outer corner. Okay, yeah, when I apply it to my skin, okay, it looks blue on camera. Why does it look blue on camera? In person, it definitely looks green. So I'm just kind of patting that on the outer corner just to build up the color. Whatever's left on the brush, just going to kind of blend that out in the crease of it. And I'm just gonna keep layering, doing that same process of patting and then blending out the edges with whatever's left. I'm gonna take a pencil brush and take Garden State again and just really focus that on the outer corner and really pack it on so that the color builds and it looks a bit more intense. I think I've decided what I want to do. I'm going to use the blue and the purple. Now hear me out on this. I'm gonna grab this e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. I don't know what it is because the name isn't on it, but I'm gonna take a bit of Hurtful. Now hopefully this shade is not hurtful to me. So I'm just putting that on the center part of my lid. Just kind of packing it on. And then similarly, with no excess product on the brush, kind of blend that out in the crease. Then I can go back in with Garden State on the outer corner and pat it together so that they blend with each other. Okay, so I blended out and kind of layered those two shades. So there's Hurtful in the center and then Garden State on the outer corner. Looks a little bit messy right now, but bear with me. I'm gonna make it work. I'm going to take another little small brush. This isn't dirty, it's just stained. This is the Luxie 141 mini round brush. And then I'm gonna take the purple Tribute and put that on the inner corner. And this is gonna be the base for Cafe Disco. So that's why I put the blue in the middle, so that hopefully, if all goes according to plan, the purple will blend together with those a lot better than with just the green. Just kind of looking down into my mirror so I can really get in the inner corner. Then I'm going to take the brush I used with the blue, Hurtful, and kind of pat that over top and blend. It's looking a little Barney right now, which honestly, not mad at. And go back in with the purple. Just gonna blend it out slightly. The inner corner a bit. Just gonna dip back into my whole heart and pop that on the brow bone here and kind of blend it together so that it doesn't look too blown out upwards. Then going back in with Garden State, the outer corner. So I'm going to take a flat shader brush, the BH number 7, and I'm going to take Cafe Disco. This is such a pretty like topper shade. It's got kind of like a pinky base, but it's also got like silver and gold in it. It's really interesting. But I'm going to pat that over top of the purple. There's definitely quite a bit of fallout with this shade. I could feel it falling on my cheeks. So it's definitely best to do the eyes first. Okay, I think I'm gonna go in with my finger to see a bit more of an intense shimmer on it. Yeah, that's more what I'm going for here. Okay, so that's the look with Cafe Disco over top. I honestly love it. I think it looks super cool, especially with the purple and the blue underneath it. It gives us this really cool like space look, and I'm really enjoying that. So I cleaned up the fallout from the Cafe Disco shade. So now I'm going to go and do my base, and then I will come back and show you what I'm going to do on the lower lash line. Okay, so I just finished up my base, and I think I'm mainly just going to do Camelot, but I might just do a bit of the browns on the outer corner. Okay, so I'm going to start this brush that is dirty, but oh well. It's the Luxie 131 Mini Angled. Starting on the outer corner and then working my way in. And then I'll go in with the little angle brush. This is the BH number 11, and I'll take, I think, the color B, which is the darker brown I used, and smudge that right on the lash line, but just on the outer corner. And I'll take that same brush I was using for Camelot, but I'll dip it into a little bit of copper boxes and smudge out the darker brown just on the outer corner. Go back in with Camelot, the yellow, and blend all of that out. And then kind of blend it up so that it connects the outer corner on the upper lid here. Going back in a bit with B, the dark brown. So I think I'm gonna take Golden Ticket just on my pinky finger, apply that right on the inner corner. Did it a bit low there. Let's take my clean finger and brush that up. That is such a nice gold. I love that. So that is the finished neutral side. I think I might skip the purple and just do Garden State and Hurtful on the lower lash line. So I'm going to take that pencil brush I used for Garden State, start smudging that, and connect that with the upper eyelid. Make sure they blend well. Taking this Royal and Langnickel detail brush and going into Hurtful, which is the blue. And starting that in the center and bringing that to the inner corner. And I'm just gonna go back and forth between Garden State and Hurtful. Also, side note, the names of these shades are absolutely perfect and I love them in every way, shape, and form. They just resemble Kristi so well. Like the shade Flavortown and Am I Orange? If you watch any of Kristi's videos, you know what I'm talking about. And there we go. That is the eyeshadow for the more colorful side. I am loving this Cafe Disco shade so much. And then this side for everyday, for fall. Oh my gosh, for fall, I can tell you already, I am going to be in love with this palette. Fall is already my favorite time of year, but combined with these like warm tone browns and these like mustardy shades, and then also the like orange and red on this side, combined with the browns, that's gonna make such good fall looks. I'm so excited. Okay, so now I'm going to apply some mascara and some falsies, and I will be right back. I will give you my final thoughts on the palette. Okay, so I finished the two looks. I added some lashes and some mascara and a lip color. So my overall thoughts on this palette is that I think it is genius. I really love it as a concept and as a product as well. Like the quality of the eyeshadows is really good. I really like that they are super pigmented, especially like the colorful shades. Even though for beginners it might not be the best shadows to start off with, because they are so pigmented and so soft, they can be blended out too much, or they can have like lots of fallout and things like that. Those things are personally things I don't mind, but for beginners it might be a bit intimidating, especially for the colorful shades. For the neutral shades, I think they are great for beginners because they pack so much pigment and because they blend out so well. The colorful shades may not be the best for beginners. I could see some beginners having some blending issues, and I could see it getting a little bit messy for beginners, especially considering how soft the eyeshadows are. But I think overall I really like the eyeshadows. They're super soft, they are really pigmented, but I find they're quite easy to blend. Overall, I think it is really awesome for Kristi and her first collab. I think this is really amazing. And it's literally my perfect palette, so thank you so much, Kristi, for making this. And I could see myself using this palette literally all the time. Hands down, one of my favorite palettes that I own. Hands down. So I'm super excited to create some more looks with it. Let me know down below what types of looks you would like to see, what content you would like to see me do, not just with the RawBeautyKristi palette specifically, but any sort of other content that you would like to see from me. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!